Video games are fun, challenging, exciting. We can explore new worlds and do things that we will never be able to do in our real life. However, for some players, video games might be so exciting and so entertaining that they could become addictive. Games can become a burden for many people and can become a potential cause of harm. Yet, there is a question that remains unanswered. What is about video games that make people addicted? In the case of drug addiction, recognizing what is that causes an addiction is pretty straightforward. We are talking about chemical substances that give us pleasure, triggering the reward system in our brain. However, in the case of gaming and gambling addiction, there is no substance directly involved. These are in fact called behavioral addictions, since they involve a behavior rather than a substance. Studies have demonstrated that these activities are able to trigger the reward system of our brain in a way that is very, very similar to that of drugs. Yet, how can we know what is addictive about a behavior? The paper I'm introducing to you today adopts an interesting approach to answer this question. Instead of doing laboratory tests and looking at how the brain of gamers react to specific stimuli, the authors have tried to examine what gamers have to say about the video games they normally play. They have scanned the reviews of 140 popular video games published on Google Play and have analyzed all the comments that refer to the games as addictive. The results are interesting. Over 25,000 reviews describe the games as addictive, and among these, more than a fifth of the reviews containing the word addictive also was containing some reference to the idea that these games were also challenging. In other words, for a large group of users, games that are perceived as addictive are also games that are considered challenging. Games that are filled with tasks that are hard to solve, for example. You might think that this is an obvious result. However, it's not. In a survey conducted by one of the two authors in 1999, the results have been radically different, with only the 10% of players stating that they were playing games because they were challenging. So, either people increasingly like games that are challenging, or there is a correlation between the addictiveness of video games and their being challenging. But even less obvious is another discovery that was made by the paper. Many of the reviews that were explicitly using the term addictive were also containing a very different kind of keyword, that of family and friends. It seems that for many players, being able to interact with their friends and with their family, and being able to share their results is a rewarding experience. Everyone knows that the share button on their favorite video game is a very effective marketing tool. By clicking on it, you let other people know that you're playing the game. Thus, you participate in advertising it. However, this same function has an additional effect, that of creating the feeling of being part of a small community of players. Although it might sound silly, showing how great is your farm on Farmville and how good you are at Candy Crush might let you attain some sort of social recognition within that specific community. If you think about it, the feeling of reward provided by these games does not differ so much from that of apps such as Instagram. We mightn't even think about Instagram as a video game, but the ultimate aim is reaching social recognition. It's important to keep in mind that the findings of this research do not demonstrate that video games that are challenging and video games that let you interact with your friends are necessarily addictive. Additionally, this paper has a crucial limit that could make its results almost irrelevant to the psychological community. The meaning that gamers give to the word addictive is typically very, very different from that given by psychologists and psychiatrists. We often use the word addictive, at least in English language, in a positive way, often as a compliment. When I say that PUBG is addictive, I do not necessarily mean that it is making me addicted. This divergence might be one of the biggest limits of the research. However, as a researcher, I have to admit that I do really like this way of looking at the problem of gaming addiction. Content analysis might not give us a definitive answer to the question of what is that made people addicted, but listening to what gamers have to say and using the huge database of reviews that they have produced might give us important insights on a problem that is going to get bigger and bigger over the next few years. Thanks for watching. See you next time.